We do appreciate everybody coming today. This is going to be a really wonderful legislative reception, and we are pleased of the opportunity to host this event for Governor John Kasich and our fine city.
Touchdown, we do appreciate the efforts that were made to get the governor up here today. And as a Deliver Construction Management Services, we've been working with the state for over a decade now, building a lot of new schools around the state. And we do appreciate the efforts in the state of Ohio to continue the improvement of the education of our students here in the state. It's really showing returns on that investment, and we're proud to be part of that investment.
Keith is here to introduce our governor, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's always a pleasure to introduce the governor. You know, when the governor was running for office, he made it very clear that Ohio was in trouble, and that the governor's leadership, the legislature, has been able to do a lot of things. And the governor's going to talk about some of those things. But let me just give you one of the highlights. In the last 4 years, before the governor took office, we were in a job-killing spiral. Since the governor's been in office, however, by his efforts, he has gone out, met face-to-face with the leaders in the business community, and kept and attracted new jobs to Ohio, unlike what had been happening before. For that reason, as members of the chamber, we need to recognize that we are on a different path. We're on a path to growing jobs and trying to create prosperity in Ohio, a prosperity that we can be proud of, and a prosperity that I look forward to working with the governor on to continue to make Ohio a great place to live, work, and do business. I want to introduce my friend, our governor, John Kasich.
I'm late. I'm a half hour earlier than Bill Clinton would have been here. You know, I'm late. First of all, where'd Keith go? Oh, he's right here. He's, you know, he's one of the leaders. I mean, and let me tell you, if you have any gripes or complaints, call him. Okay, that's who you should go to. No, he really is one of the leaders, and he's doing a great job out there on issue 2. And I live in Ohio. You know, worse than every other state in America except for Michigan and California. 1/3 of the college graduates are leaving this state after 3 years. That's our seed corn. If you don't have any young people, you don't have any future. Our entrepreneurs, the best and the brightest, when it goes time for them to cash in some of what they build up over a lifetime, they pay capital gains taxes of 15% at the federal level. If they live in Florida, they pay a total of 15%. If they live in Ohio, they pay 21%. What would you rather pay to government, 21 or 15? Very good. You should have a free membership in the chamber for the next year. That is smart, okay? So these are all big issues. So you want to meet a great Ohio entrepreneur and job creator, you go to Naples, Florida. That's where they are. You can go down to that the Clock restaurant over Christmas, and you'll see them down there. So you're losing your young people, you're losing your entrepreneurs, and you're losing your jobs. Great situation, right? So, and then I come in and we got this $8 billion hole. So I said we weren't going to raise taxes. And people said, well, that's not possible. Am I right? You thought, that's nice, that's a great promise, but it'll end up. Am I right? Anybody want to admit to that? Huh? And the reason why we couldn't raise taxes is real simple. If you want to bring jobs to a place, you cannot bring them there if your costs are too high. If your costs are high, they will go to where their costs will be low. I know this, not just from the fact that I was in business for 10 years, but I also know it because we have to negotiate agreements with companies that are thinking about coming here. And we constantly look at how we can improve. Let me give you another example on Medicaid. It's a third of the budget, 30% of the budget. We know that 4% of the Medicaid population drives over 50% of the costs. So some people would say, if you want to save money, cut off dental care to kids. To me, that's not very smart. You're just digging a deeper hole, and I don't like the idea. But if you can manage the 4% that drive 52% of the cost and get them into settings where they get decent health care, we can begin to control those costs. Where do you think that a big chunk of that 4% gets their primary care? Is there anybody here in the hospital business? Emergency room. Real good getting primary care in an emergency room, right? It doesn't work. So if we can manage them through the system, we can not only save money, but have longer-term positive outcomes. Now we are taking our Medicaid money and working with companies and regions that are interested in driving quality and outcome-based medicine. What does that mean? Today, it's all quantity. How many people can you get through the system? That means we treat people when they're sick. It would make a heck of a lot more sense if we treated people before they were sick to keep them healthy, right? So we are aligning ourselves with people that are interested in doing this. And that involves outcome-based medicine. It involves making sure that we don't just start prescribing stuff that doesn't matter or doesn't work or is too costly. We'll let the providers figure that out. But we're going to align ourselves with that because we think that makes good sense, and frankly, it will move Ohio into a strong 21st century position.
Manufacturing companies in this state claim many of Ohio's unemployed workforce, or those graduating from high school, do not have the interest or skills for the jobs they have available. What can be done or is being done to solve this problem?
We also need forecasting. You need to tell me over the course of the next few years what you're going to need. You got to tell me I'm going to need X so that we can begin to orient the training of our students in our community colleges, technical schools, vocational schools, to get them in a position of when they're trained, they have a real value that you can hire them. I mean, one of the things we're trying to do right now is to find out from the energy companies, what workers do you need? You know, because we have fracking in the eastern part of the state that could be a bonanza for Ohio if it all pans out. But I don't want foreigners working there. Those are people from Indiana, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Michigan. But they have to tell me, okay, what is it that I need? Why don't we make education for reaching kids' passions for what they want to do, God-given passions, instead of trying to run them through a process where they're frankly not interested? Look at the dropout rates. Look at the lack of interest. Look at the performance that we get. This is a great opportunity not only to address a shortage of workers, but it is also a great opportunity to align our education system in a way that might actually begin to fix the education problem, not just in Ohio, but in our country.
We're on a prison ministry team. Okay. We're on a prison ministry team, and I know you're trying to cut costs with the prisons. All right. My question is, the guys that are in prison that we see every week, a lot of them are ready to get out, but case managers are not helping and not finding them a place to go when we know there's places out there.
Okay, let me speak directly to that. First of all, man, I would like to have a situation where, you know, a lot of people don't belong in those kind of institutions, number one.